Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's episode of TNA Impact Wrestling for November 1st, 2012. I thought this was a pretty good show this week. If you look past some of the goofy shit, and there really wasn't a lot of it on here, it was a pretty good show. Not like the best show ever or anything like that, but as far as what they had been doing in last week's show, this was definitely a step up. So I did enjoy this one, and we still get the Todd Kennelly, Jeremy Borash commentating team for the first hour, and in the second hour it's Borash and TNA. Taz is dealing with the hurricane, so they're still doing the different commentators for the first hour and the second hour, which I like. And it starts off with Joseph Park. He says that he's a man and he found a loophole to face the Aces. Since he's not a member of the roster, he can only face them through open fight night. So he calls out a member of the Aces before show up and surround him. And he's saying, "Only one! I said only one!" So they surround him, and then Kurt Angle runs out to help him, then Sting. And Sting says they will remove the mask of one of the members tonight. And they do. Magnus says that he will expose someone who really deserves it. Jesse is freaking out over having to face ODB. Magnus comes out to the ring and says Samoa Joe is like Howard Stern. Everyone loves him, but he's got a face for radio. And Samoa Joe comes out. They have a fun match, I thought. Magnus gets disqualified after using a wrench, but it was a fun match. Sting, Hogan, and Joe Park are talking in Hogan's office. Kurt Angle charges in, demanding a match with Devon tonight. Hogan says Bully's got him tonight, but if there's anything left, you can have him at Turning Point. Kurt agrees, but still wants to fight someone along with Wes Briscoe and Garrett Bischoff. Thank God this didn't happen. Samoa Joe cuts a very slobber-filled promo on how he's going to face Magnus again, except no DQ. So that's probably another Turning Point match there. We hear Jeff Hardy's thoughts again. This was goofy. He's thinking about open fight night. Austin Aries. Watching this shit is so cringeworthy. I don't know why they insist on doing this again. It's horrible. You cannot hear the man's thoughts. It just comes across as so cheap and stupid. It just doesn't make any sense. So watching this, I was just thinking, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. Christopher Daniels and Kazarian come out. They act like they're going to call out Hernandez and Chavo, but they challenge the Spanish announce team. I like this. They beat up the Spanish announce team until Chavo and Hernandez run out to make the save. Once again, they're the tag team champions, but they have no teams to face. Now that Kurt Angle and AJ Styles have separated, you're looking at the two tag teams. I guess you could say Robbie E and Robbie T, but that's not exactly a draw. So they really don't have any other teams. It's just going to be these two guys fighting each other over and over again. So we get the Christian York video. Backstage, ODB calls Eric Young, says she needs him there for her tonight. Man, I felt really sorry for her just watching this backstage segment, because Eric Young is supposed to be her husband, and he's never around. Like, she's calling him, saying she needs him in her corner, and he never shows. It's just really depressing. We get gut check with Christian York versus Zema Ion. I like this match. Christian York throws his hairspray can down the aisle, and he hits some cool moves here, the rolling senton and some other stuff, but eventually Zema Ion wins with the Submission Impossible, the armbar move. So Zema Ion did win the match. I actually thought this might be the first gut check contestant who wins his gut check match, but it didn't happen. However, I do think Christian York is probably the best contestant they've had so far. It's just in ring work alone. He was very good here. Austin Aries says that he stole the belt because he still sees himself as the champ. He goes to see Robbie E and Robbie T and asks if they remember 5 points, bro. Of course they remember 5 points. Garrett Bischoff tells Bully that Devon turned on him too and he's got his back. Bully appreciates this, and they get called away to a brawl with the Aces, where Bully ends up chasing after Devon, which I thought was going to lead Bully into a trap where he gets beat up and can't call Devon out later. But no, nothing happens with this. They could have done something like that, where they laid him out and then have Bully versus Devon at Turning Point, but ODB comes out, cuts a great promo on Jesse, and we get the match. It was a goofy match. She spanks Jesse at one point. She actually chops the shit out of his chest. You can see the welt swell up. But yeah, just a goofy comedy match here. ODB gets distracted by Tara. Jesse rolls her up, gets the win. The best part is ODB stays rolled up like she did before, where she's just laying in position and then kicks out like 5 seconds later. I love that. So Robbie E and Robbie T come out. Robbie E brings up beating Hardy for 5 points. He calls him out for open fight night. Hardy wins with a swanton. I actually thought this was a pretty good match. And Hardy actually had this, I guess, lightning bug makeup is what I would call it. It's that stuff you would see show up in black lights or something. So he comes out and he's rubbing the lightning bug makeup on him. And I actually thought it looked pretty cool. It was a good entrance. So he wins the match, and afterwards Austin Aries comes out, tells him to pick his ugly belt back up, says he will reclaim his spot at Turning Point, and Hardy pulls out a ladder from under the ring and challenges him to a ladder match at Turning Point. This sounds good to me. I would like to see Jeff Hardy versus Austin Aries in a ladder match. Matt Morgan goes to see Hulk Hogan at his beach shop. Cheap plug for the beach shop. And he steals some of Hogan's memorabilia. James Storm asks Hogan for a chance since he's proved himself. And Hogan says that he's got something for him. Bobby Roode comes out and says that since Austin Aries isn't the champ anymore, and he had that stipulation where as long as Aries is the champ, he can't get another title shot, he says Hardy's the champ now and he deserves a title shot. AJ Styles comes out. He says he should get a title shot. He brings up the Claire Lynch angle and how they're doing a version of it in WWE, which I thought was pretty funny because this is the only reason they brought this up. The only reason they brought up Claire Lynch was to poke at WWE doing something similar. That was the only reason. And he says that people were taking videos of me going into elevators, which seems to be the fad now if your name is AJ. So they were just trying to take a shot at WWE here. Styles says that he's calling Roode out for open fight night. Roode says no, attacks AJ from behind. Hogan and Storm come out. Hogan says Roode, Storm, and AJ for a Turning Point match, with the winner getting a title shot. However, whoever gets pinned in the match cannot get another title shot until next year's Bound for Glory. It's got to be AJ getting pinned, right? I mean, it has to be. That's a year build there for them getting another title shot. So I don't know. I would say AJ or Storm. Joey Ryan and Matt Morgan come out. Morgan's wearing Hogan's robe, which fits him perfectly. This guy is 7 feet tall. If Hulk Hogan wore this robe, and it was just barely off the ground on Matt Morgan, if Hogan wore this robe, it'd be dragging all over the place. Morgan says that he's tired of waiting. He's going to make history. He's going to eat the roster and shit them out. Joey Ryan calls out RVD. They had an okay match. RVD goes for the frog splash. Morgan pulls Ryan out of the way. Joey Ryan rolls him up, gets the win. Afterwards, Matt Morgan hits the carbon footprint on RVD. So we get the main event, which is Bully Ray versus Devon. Bully brings in a table. Devon hangs around outside the ring. He doesn't want to get in. He doesn't want to face Bully. The Aces come out, fill up the ring. TNA roster comes out. They all start brawling around again. Bully goes to put Devon through the table, but one of the Aces hits him from behind and throws him out of the ring. Joseph Park gets in the ring and tries to fight the Aces member, but he ends up getting beat up. However, he's able to rip the man's mask off, and we see it's Luke Gallows. Luke Gallows chokeslams Joseph Park through the table, and the Aces leave. And that was it. It was I guess it's okay. this whole Aces thing, a lot of people are just done with it, ready for it to be over. Personally, I see this going on for a very long time. I don't think they're anywhere close to being done with this angle. And this was simple. I didn't really mind this too much. They revealed a new member of the Aces. So I can't really say I have a problem with this. I thought it was okay. And just the show as a whole, they did keep it kind of simple. There was some goofy stuff, mostly that Jeff Hardy crap, where you can hear his thoughts. That's got to go. That is just stupid and doesn't help anybody. It makes Jeff Hardy look really bad. And just the stuff he says, it's so cheesy. God, I hate watching that. But other than that, everything else was okay. The ODB Jesse match was comedy, but it wasn't bad. So overall, I did like this week's episode, and I'm going to do the next horror movie series. I had to wait for the poster. I just got the poster today, so I'll probably do that video tomorrow along with SmackDown. So anyway, that's my review of this week's episode of TNA. Hope you guys liked this video. Leave your thoughts on this week's Impact in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Bye. Show up and surround him, and he's saying, "Only one." I said only one. So they surround him, and then Kurt Angle runs out to help him, then Sting. And Sting says they will remove the mask of one of the members tonight. And they do. Magnus says that he will expose someone who really deserves it. Alright guys, I'm back with my review of this week's episode of TNA Impact Wrestling for November 1st, 2012. I thought this was a pretty good show this week. If you look past some of the goofy shit, and there really wasn't a lot of it on here, it was a pretty good show. Not like the best show ever or anything like that, but as far as what they had been doing in last week's show, this was definitely a step up. So I did enjoy this one, and we still get the Todd Kennelly, Jeremy Borash commentating team for the first hour, and in the second hour, it's Borash and TNA. Taz is dealing with the Hurricane, so they're still doing the different comments. Jesse is freaking out over having to face ODB. Magnus comes out to the ring and says Samoa Joe is like Howard Stern. Everyone loves him, but he's got a face for radio. And Samoa Joe comes out. They have a fun match, I thought. Magnus gets disqualified after using a wrench, but it was a fun match. For the first hour and the second hour, which I like. And it starts off with Joseph Park. He says that he's a man, and he found a loophole to face the Aces. Since he's not a member of the roster, he can only face them through open fight night. So he calls out a member of the Aces before